at your microphone or not?
I'm just going to go without it. So as we can see here, as we've been staring at this for a little bit while now, let's try to figure everything out. My sermon is about feet. And everybody has them, right? Everybody has feet, hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully,
Most people
unless
Difficult
under
without them.
special circumstances, maybe not. But everybody has them. What's that? You got 2 foot? I got 2 feet. Together they make 2 feet. So, everybody has them. They come in all shapes and sizes, as we can see. We have some very big feet here, some very happy feet, and some very small feet.
Whoa.
And a guitar.
And a guitar. We have a guitar here as well.
Some people play them with feet too.
That's right.
Not me.
Shoe that stays there. And they come in all shapes and sizes. From the largest foot ever recorded. Anybody have a guess on how big it was?
Size 27.
Decade 22.
27.
Nope. You guys are all too low.
Basketball player.
The largest
48
foot, both feet, the largest feet that anybody has ever had on record was a U.S. citizen named Robert Waldo. He was born in the U.S. He lived from 1918 to 1940. He was the tallest man ever, and he wore a U.S. size 37 AA.
Wow.
37 AA. I don't know why the AA is there. I've never heard of the AA.
That's very
So
narrow.
Very narrow.
Ski.
Okay.
Yeah, really.
So the 37 AA, the UK size is 36, and approximately a size 37 for the Europe version.
Yeah.
The equivalent to 47 centimeters or 18 and a half inches long. Okay. This is my shoe. I wear a size 13. Okay.
Wow.
His foot being the 18 inches. The screen on my computer here is 17 inches. From this corner to this corner.
Wow.
So his foot is again out a little bit more than that.
Huge.
He needs very big shoes. Now, the current largest foot on the world right now, as in is still walking around. His foot is a size 30. Where was it? Is a size 32. American size 21 is what the closest to scale, because I couldn't find the scale that actually went up to his size. So he went to, obviously having a foot that size, you can't really just go out to Payless and go, hey, you got a size 300? Can I get one? They're gonna tell you to go away. So he has to go to a professional shoemaker, and he went to one. He went to a cobbler and said, I need a shoe. The cobbler comes back and says, I'll make shoes, but one pair is going to cost $5,270.
A mile a foot.
One pair of shoes. Who wants feet that big? Anybody? No? Nobody wants? All right.
How do you draw it?
Yeah, he actually, there's a car, there's no car that can fit him.
Yeah, really.
There's no, he can't actually drive himself because everything is so small. But, Mom, go ahead and switch the picture. This is him. This is the guy that's still living with the largest feet.
Wow.
And this is the lady with the smallest feet. I don't actually know what her size is because I couldn't find it. But, 3? Yeah, they,
Wow.
so yeah. He is also the second tallest man in the world as of this current moment. Of living people.
Look at the size of his arm.
Yeah.
It's like
He's 7. No, he's 8'1".
wow.
That's how tall he is. He's 8'1".
His head doesn't fit his knee.
Tallest man in the world is
Very long
8'3".
neck.
Wow.
So he's short by 2 inches. But
So those big iPhones will look about this big in his hand.
exactly. So So, but if we all have feet, why is it we rarely see them? Can anybody right now look down at their feet and actually see them?
Irene?
Is anybody currently not wearing shoes? Irene, are you wearing any
I just
kind
took
of...
them off just for you.
Did you?
Yes, I
She has
did.
sandals on,
I figured
I
you'd be the
did.
one. You would be the one not to be
Megan's
wearing
usually got her
shoes.
socks too.
I have sandals.
Becky?
I have sandals so I can see my toes.
But why is it we rarely see our feet?
They get cold.
They get cold.
Yeah.
Get
It
dirty.
hurts to walk
They
on.
get dirty.
Hey, Aaron, I
Yes.
found Miss Liu, a 90-year-old woman from China, is the current record holder for the smallest feet in the world.
Does it say what her size is?
How tall she is or anything?
Like
The
the size
size
of
of
her
her
feet?
feet.
No, well, I didn't read that, but if I find out, I'll give you the
That's-
information.
That's okay. Why is it we wear shoes or sandals?
To protect
Protect
her.
our feet.
Protect our feet. Well, why do we need to protect our feet?
From dirt?
From dirt.
From rocks.
Other feet.
From
From
Very
getting-
small rocks.
from getting cut or
Ice,
Stepping in tar on the road.
Now,
hot bubbles. Lots of things.
does anybody normally go barefoot? Like
In the
in their normal day-to-day life, do you normally go barefoot?
Yes.
in the house.
I mean, with the exception of, you have to wear shoes at work and, the whole cleanliness thing, Is there people here that like to go barefoot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not anymore?
No,
Irene.
my feet got tender as they
Irene
got
is,
older.
is the one that I was thinking of when I wrote this. But then we have things like, how many people play sports barefoot? Anybody? Baseball? Basketball?
Basketball.
Barefoot? Really?
I'm barefoot.
Oh, like wood court? Cement court?
Cement court.
Really? Okay, maybe you no longer are allowed to talk? Sorry, no. No. I'm very impressed that she plays barefoot because I'd never do that. How about anybody wear no shoes during January or February? Here, in Ohio. Irene?
Irene is.
Do you go barefoot? Outside? Outside barefoot?
I have,
I've seen
I have in the
that.
past.
Normally. Do you normally go
But I
barefoot?
mean, I'm talking in my younger years, not at 62.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yes, I went out in the snow in bare feet. Yes, I did.
I've done it once and learned not to do it again. Feet get very cold very fast. Very cold very fast. But what about climbing a mountain? Did anybody climb a mountain barefoot?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've done rock climbing barefoot. Yeah.
Now,
a very long trek.
now my feet rarely come out of my shoes, let alone socks. And just because my feet get cold, and I have hobbit feet, so I kind of hide them a little bit. Kind of look like the guy in the picture down here. A little bit, not that bad, but a little bit. And I was in Pennsylvania with my family. We have my mom's side of the family's out there, and we were at my cousin's house, my cousin Greg's, and we were playing tag. Okay, and for whatever reason, my feet were naked. And I was playing tag. Okay, and I don't know why it was, or for what reason I decided to take my shoes and socks off, but I wanted to be like everybody else, I guess, because my cousins don't wear shoes, or at least back then they did. So in the process of playing tag, I became it. And so, in being it, I did exactly what every other kid does, chase after the nearest kid closest to me. Well, I was chasing my cousin Greg, and at this point, I'm the oldest cousin on my mom's side. Okay, so everybody else is a lot younger than me. And at this point in our life, I was a lot taller than everybody. Now, Greg is like this tall, and his brothers are all like this tall. So I'm now like the 4th or 5th shortest person on that side of the family.
Yeah.
But so I'm chasing Greg, and he goes tearing around his corner of his house, and I'm hot on his trail. And there he goes and runs right across their driveway, no problem. And my feet see the gravel driveway. And they say, "No, you are not going across there." And my feet literally stopped, and I almost just right in front of it.
Field of dreams.
I see this sea of white gravel. I think, what am I going to do now? Well, I can't be shown up by my younger cousins, so I'm like, I'm going to go across this and I'm going to get him. And so I take 2 courageous steps, and my feet say, "You're an idiot, get off of this." So I turn around, take 1 step, and get back off. And I realized that if I'm going to chase my cousins, I have to wear shoes, because they will continue to just run back and forth across the driveway, and you won't get it. Now, thankfully, their driveway is now paved,
Yeah.
and is asphalt instead of little rocks. But, yes. So, as I've said, my sermon is on the feet. And before we go on, I'd like to pray. God, I just thank you for today, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak the message that you've given me, Lord. God, I just pray that the words that are coming out of my mouth wouldn't be mine, but be yours. God, I just pray that you would speak to us. And God, I pray that the points that you need to be made would be made, Lord, and I wouldn't get in the way. God, I thank you and I praise you for everyone here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
No, my sermon primarily is on feet, but with it being on feet, you can't have a sermon on feet without having a sermon on shoes as well. And yes, I did say shoes, but before I get to the shoes, I want to talk about something else. Most of you know me pretty well and know that I'm a nature lover. I love nature. Spiders, slugs, bugs. I mean, as long as it's out of the house, I'm good. It's natural habitat, good. As long as it's not those silverfish. I don't know if anybody knows what silverfish is. It's about this big and has about 1 billion legs. They're nasty, I hate them.
No.
Don't like it. Everything else, I'm good. I love walking through the woods, love climbing mountains, and love going in caves. I'd live in any of them except for a cave, just because you gotta have a little bit of sun. I even wouldn't mind living in a tree. But, so, in nature, I see God. I see the amazingness of what His creation is. And it's not just, I'm not the only one that sees it, I know. I'm sure you guys see it as well. But the Bible mentions it a lot as well. They pull off of the animals and the creation itself to speak on God. And I went through the concordance in my Bible to see how many animals it named. And my concordance being what it is, it's just kind of limited. It's only the big verse kind of things. And I think there was a list of about 30 different animals, and each one had somewhere between 1 and 10 verses on each one. Everything from the generic just animals to snakes, birds, dogs, deer, goat, sheep, and the list goes on. But today I want us to talk about one specific verse. Actually, it's 2, but and that's on the deer. Now, last week in the sermon, the first one came up. It's in Psalms 42:1. As the deer pants for the water, so does my soul. Irene brought that one up last week, and we talked about it a little bit. I want to go with the other one that my concordance mentioned, and that is in Habakkuk 3:19. And it's actually in reference to another verse that my Bible didn't bring up, and that's Psalm 18:33. And now, if anybody has their Bibles, you're more than welcome to to follow along. I don't have the verses up here, so you just have to bear with me if you don't have your Bible. Now, just to give some context to these verses, I'm going to start in Psalms because that's the one that Habakkuk references in his small book. The chapter starts off with a little note for the conductor, the guy that's going to be making the song or doing the song wherever it's being performed. And it says at the top, for the choir director, of the servant of the Lord, David, who speaks the word of this song, or spoke the word of this song, to the Lord the day the Lord rescued him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. Now, just to remind you guys of what was going on, David had been running away from Saul forever. David was being chased by Saul. Saul was trying to kill him because David was going to be the next king. So on the day that he was rescued, David sang this song, or at least the words to it, and later put music to it. Basically, up until the point of where I'm going to come from, David's just praising God and saying, thank you for doing all this great stuff. You've kept me safe. You've been this huge force in my life, and you've come against my enemies, and you've given me strength to keep running and to keep hiding, and you've given me the faith to continue to trust in you and know that what you said is going to come to fruition. Now I'm going to pick up in verse 30 and go through 33. God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is pure. He's a shield to all who take refuge in it. For who is God's besides Yahweh? And who is a rock? Only our God. God, he clothes me with strength and makes my way perfect. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer and sets me securely on the heights. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. It's a verse that doesn't really pop necessarily, but because as soon as he mentions this, David goes and jumps and starts talking about training for war. But in this verse, it's a great life lesson. But let's jump over to Habakkuk first. Again, that verse is Habakkuk 3:17, 19 is where it's going to be. But I'm going to start at verse 16. But I want to give you a little bit of what's going on with Habakkuk. Habakkuk is a very short book. It's 3 chapters long. So I'm just kind of going to give you a brief overview of the whole thing. Basically, Habakkuk is a prophet, okay? And he's there just before Babylon comes and takes Israel, and takes Judah, okay? And he sees this happening, and he's praying to God and asking him questions about why. I understand that, we're not doing so hot, we're not really following you, but why is it that you're going to use this evil group of people to come and to conquer a more righteous group? And God answers him back and says that because of this, the ones that are righteous are going to become more righteous, and the ones that aren't will become less. So it's basically kind of a separation and a strengthening that's going to happen. It's not going to be fun, but that's what's going to happen. So in verse 16, at the very end, Habakkuk begins, kind of gets it. And he starts praying, and he says, God, I understand what's going on, but I'm going to trust you. And I'm going to pick that up in verse 16. I heard and I trembled within. My lips quivered at the sound. Rottenness entered my bones. I trembled where I stood. Now I must quietly wait for the day of distress to come against the people invading us. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there is no fruit on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though there are no sheep in the pen, and no cattle in the stalls, yet I will triumph in Yahweh. I will rejoice in God of my salvation. Yahweh, my Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like that, like those of a deer, and enables me to walk the mountain heights. Now we've seen these two verses from two different people at two different time periods. One looking behind and praising God, and one looking forward. But what is it that this verse is saying? Why must my feet be made like feet of a deer? I like my feet. They might be a pain every once in a while, standing on concrete for hours at a time, or not wearing the right shoe. But I like them. I don't really want to have feet like a deer. Have you seen deer's feet? They're not all that attractive, And though I guess they would be good for kicking things, but I can kick things with my feet. Let's go back to the story about the gravel driveway. Now I had my feet, I hit the driveway, and as soon as I hit the driveway, my feet yelled at me and said, "Stop it, you need to go back the other direction." My soft feet couldn't handle it. But what if my feet were changed, say the feet that I had today with my shoes on? Would have never had an issue going across that driveway. And I would have been able to just run straight across to the other side and caught my cousin, because my feet and shoes were made for that type of path. Of course, all shoes aren't created equal. There are so many different kinds, as some of you ladies know. And I'm sure some guys know as well. But if you today, with the shoes that you have on at this very moment, were to go and play a game of baseball, how would you do?
Not well.
Not well.
Fairly well.
Fairly well. Some people are like, yeah, we'll be all right. Others are like, yeah, no. And having the feet for that situation can change dramatically. I mean, who wants to play a game of baseball on a pair of dress shoes? You slip in the slide, nobody ever make it to first base. You'd be thrown out before it, and the first person to hit a home run would win the game. Probably how it works. Now, so the shoes that are ideal for baseball are what?
Cleated.
Cleated, exactly. Because it gives you more traction, you can get up and go, and you can run fast, or hopefully. Now, if you took those same shoes that are great for baseball, let's go play basketball with them.
Not gonna happen.
Not going to happen. All the fans are going to run out screaming because first the racket. I mean, it's hard enough hearing all the squeaks and squiggles when you're running across back and forth on a wood court, right? There'd be headaches all around.
Then you're gonna get ejected because
Plus it would ruin the floor.
Yeah.
Plus, it would ruin the floor, exactly.
No competition, you just spike everybody.
It's
Then
called
they'd all be
fouling
in
the
the
out.
hospital.
So the basketball shoes, even tennis shoes don't work with I mean, they would. Tennis shoes, generally, I mean, for me, I always wear tennis shoes just because it's most comfortable and they're good for most things. But when you play basketball, you don't want to wear tennis shoes either because you can roll your ankle. So they have the high tops that go up your ankle to protect your ankle. And then we have my least favorite shoe, which are the dress shoes. You have, the loafers, and you have high tops for you ladies. And high heels, high tops is probably the wrong thing.
High
Is that
tops.
too old of a term, or is that just the wrong kind of shoe?
High tops are
Sneakers.
You see, as much as then we have the platform shoes as well.
Boots.
Everybody remember the shoe that had the heel with the goldfish in the bottom of it? No. Sorry, maybe that's a little too old for some of us. But I love the 80s. They were there. Anyways, so you have your dress shoes and your high heels. And I don't know about for any of you other men, but I can never find a pair of high heels that fit, let alone that are comfortable. I mean the dress shoes. Dress shoes. Sorry.
Just ask your mom next time.
I'll have to ask.
I said wear your shoes.
Mine won't fit him. He's got too big a feet.
Yeah.
What's it really?
But
That's on film.
it is on film. It is on film.
Where are your checks when you need them?
But for me, I really don't like dress shoes. When I go to weddings, I prefer not to wear dress shoes. And for me, dress shoes are just uncomfortable. They're not flexible enough. They wear on my feet the wrong way. You know, it's just not comfortable. But so what I do is if I go to a wedding, I'll buy a pair of shoes one day. I think I still have them in my closet. I wore them once to my cousin's wedding. I wore them for the wedding, and as soon as the wedding was done, I took them off and I put my tennis shoes back on for the reception. Because I knew I was going to be dancing and, carrying on, but I actually wanted to have comfortable feet versus feet that were yelling at me when I was trying to do the Harlem Shake or whatever it is, cha-cha slide. One of my favorites. And so in our lives, we have these situations where we wear different shoes for different occasions. Now, God gives us shoes as well. And in this verse, he references feet. Basically the same thing. It's just another way of looking at it. And God gives us the shoes that we need, but not in the physical sense, more in the spiritual sense. And in the verse it says feet. And he gives us these feet for our challenges that we face throughout our lives. Now, how many of us have gone through hard times? Everybody? Good. We're in unison. Sounds great. How about good times? Got good times too?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I want to go back to the verse that we read earlier in the Psalms. Did anybody keep reading by any chance when we stopped? Because in verse 36, it says, "You widen the place beneath me for my steps, and my ankles do not give way." Now, there's a verse right ahead of that I read in verse 32, just beforehand. It said, "God clothes me with strength, and he makes my way perfect."
Was that Psalms or the?
That was Psalms 18:32 is where that was. When I read that originally, before I was doing this verse, I always thought, well, he makes my way perfect. Well, that just means everything's going to be straight, everything's going to be good, and we won't really have many struggles, right? That's what it says right there. It says, "My way, perfect." Well, has anybody felt ever like they're kind of going back and forth on the same kind of subject and they're not really getting anywhere? Mom, could you flip the slide? I think I have a couple of them behind. So here we have. Anybody want to do this? Has anybody thought about doing this?
Yeah.
Nah.
Really? I've never thought about doing this. Are you kidding me? If I keep my shoes on, I can do this. All right, you go ahead and flip the next slide.
You won't have shoes when you get done.
Okay, so everybody see this?
That was really fun.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wow.
Who wants to go straight on this one?
Yes.
Who wants the path to go straight here?
Interesting.
This is. Let me flip here. Let me see if I can pronounce the name correctly. This is Haoshan Stairs. This is in China. This is where you have to go to get green tea. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of. Now you see, there is three. There's one here. It's very steep, and there's this one. It's a little less, and this one actually just goes up here and then just goes up. So I think this is for like the beginners, intermediate, and
Stupid.
idiots. picture, he was about here. In the last picture, his feet were at the very top of the same picture. And he actually climbed it up. And people do this for whatever reason. They want to have fun. And so they climb this, and this is just the beginning. At the top, I found other where it's basically it's 2 wood planks. They're probably, 6-10 inches wide. There's 2 of them side by side. And there's a chain along the mountain. And on the other side of the mountain, there's nothing. It is straight down. And all you're standing on is these wooden planks, and you have a chain that's connected in. What you do is, as you go, you have two clickers. First one goes on the one, and you go across till you hit the first pin that goes into the wall. You take the second one, you click that on, you take off the other one, and you go another 10 feet. And that's how you get green tea. Anybody wants a green tea? I mean, go get your own green tea, not actually out of the store. Let's go get the plant. Now this one here,
In Subway.
this one here is in Hawaii. This is the Cocoa Crater. If anybody watches Hawaii Five-0, there's a scene where they decide to go running up these stairs.
Yeah.
It is straight up, as you can see, and there's no real going back and forth. Now, in seeing these 2, go ahead and flip to the next one. Who wants to do this one instead? Now, again, this is just the bottom view. This is in Utah at Bryce Canyon. My parents went there. And if you've ever done any mountain climbing, as in like actually following the path, that they have up a mountain, you do this a lot. It's annoying to us young kids because we're like, but we can just go from right here to right here really fast. It's really not that bad. Now this one is a little bit more of a cliff face. And you walk twice as far to get from here to there. But the grade is not as difficult. And
Where's Yellow Wave?
there might be another
Escalators.
one in there.